Boy oh boy is there a lot to cover when it comes to Baja Blast, the Taco Bell exclusive fountain flavor originally released in 2004. Baja Blast is one of those flavors everyone is familiar with and could immediately identify, but would have a hard time describing. Its one-of-a-kind taste is tricky to pinpoint, but officially defined as a tropical lime storm. The tropical component is sort of explained through this 2005 magazine print ad. Most know of the Taco Bell exclusivity, but not the fact it's said to be formulated to taste good with their menu. Specifically their spicy, crunchy, melty, grilled, marinated food you crave. Whether you believe this or not is one thing, but you gotta admit, the two do pair well. Baja Blast is easily one of the most beloved, iconic, and long-lasting flavors, leading to quite the expansive history. The name Baja Blast comes from the Mexican peninsula state named Baja California. To pay tribute to this origin, anything related to Baja Blast is typically ocean-themed. This is especially apparent in the early marketing of the flavor. Presumably, that's also where the iconic teal color originates from. Baja's unique taste, color, and name, combined with the requirement of visiting a Taco Bell, altogether have led to a large cult following and a level of nostalgic connection unlike other flavors. For those around for the drink's early days, you might remember the several branded cups used in conjunction with the Taco Bell fountains. Few thought to save them, making them quite the collector's pieces today. Over the years, many different special cups were designed specifically for Baja Blast, usually around the time a large promotion was running. Oftentimes, these mid-2000s promos included fun flash sites complete with games to play, alongside cash prizes that were advertised in pesos instead of US dollars in order to showcase a larger looking number that would then be converted. Despite its permanent off-the-bat position at Taco Bell, consumers weren't happy with just an occasional fountain fill-up. A freeze version was released in 2012, but it still wasn't enough to quell the fans demanding more. It got to the point where groups developed elaborate soda stealing methods and or brewed up their own batches at home, using the commonly agreed upon recipe of OG plus Blue Powerade. The desire for Baja Blast got so extreme, Mountain Dew finally decided on its 10-year anniversary in 2014, it was time for an in-store release of Baja bottles and cans. Unless you were there, it's hard to understand how bizarre yet awesome it was to have access to Baja Blast outside of its standard fast food establishment. Despite the broken exclusivity, Taco Bell was still mentioned on every label, likely as a contractual obligation. This momentous release was accompanied by a promotion titled Baja or Bust, which involved entering codes and playing a reskinned motocross mobile game under the same name to then win various prizes, including this neat bobblehead and even rarer statue of the game's main character. To be clear, this was a limited time gig. After the summer, Baja Blast was going back to being fountain only at Taco Bell. That wouldn't be for long though, as this became a bit of a yearly tradition. Every year from 2014 to 2023, with the exception of 2017, Baja Blast was released in stores for a limited time, for the summer, under all sorts of different promotions. In 2018, its label design got a slight tweak. In 2019, a zero sugar variant was planned but cancelled. Then in 2020, the zero sugar did release, making for a new tradition for years 2021, 22, and 23. To be fair, a diet and zero sugar variation were seen prior to 2020, though only in fountain form at Taco Bell. In 2024, 20 years after its debut, Mountain Dew announced Baja Blast's in-store release would be permanent, finally ending the streaks of limited time availability. Throughout all the different release eras, designs were altered, new sizes were developed, merchandise was given away. It even got to the point where Baja Blast Super Bowl commercials were being played, Baja Blast records were being pressed. Hell, there even exists a Baja Blast Snuggie and Stanley. There was also a Canadian release, a contest-won hot sauce, a Taco Bell app-exclusive gelato, also said to be chemically formulated to pair perfectly only with their menu. Baja Blast dessert twists were test marketed, a Thanksgiving pie that cost $20 was released, paired with a Baja Blast pie chiller milkshake, and that's not even everything. there's a whole other world of Baja Blast freeze variants, such as the alcoholic twisted freeze, the sprinkle-filled anniversary birthday freeze, the pina colada-inspired creamy colada freeze, the creamy dream and dirty duo, and again, that's not even everything. To this day, Baja Blast continues to have variants released for it, proving again and again its position as maybe Mountain Dew's most popular flavor, after OG of course. It's not often a flavor captures the public's attention to the levels Baja Blast did in 2004. It's only happened a few times since. Sangria Blast, the Taco Bell exclusive spiritual sequel to Baja Blast. Described as citrus punch, Sangria Blast likely gets its name and look from the Spanish alcoholic drink sangria, but was likely instead named Sangrita to remove the link to alcohol and also connect it more with Mexico. Originally, Sangria Blast stood alongside the also new at the time Diet Baja Blast, but only for 2 years, as after 2015 it wasn't seen again. To many, Sangria Blast flavor was despised, but others found it enjoyable, enough to where Mountain Dew decided to give it a shot in stores alongside Baja Blast during its 2015 limited summer cannon bottle run. That version of Sangria Blast also included that same Taco Bell banner, reminding fans where they can still obtain the citrus punch pop after its limited time run on shelves. Also in 2015, Sangria Blast received a freeze at Taco Bell, though it only lasted a few months. The last time the drink was available in its original fountain form was 2017, after which it's only been spotted in a few random convenience store soda dispensers, likely as a glitch and or placeholder image for similar future flavors. Right in time for the summer, 7-Eleven again presented Dew fans with a unique, exclusive release, that being Solar Flare, a flavor defined as a blast of tropical punch. Alongside the release of Solar Flare was Doritos Loaded, a melty cheesy snack said to pair well with the tropical punch soda. The initial fountain release alongside the eventual Slurpee variant together would last for years as a 7-Eleven staple. After a 10-year availability, Solar Flare would eventually be phased out in order to make room for future exclusives. Around the mid-2010s, Solar Flare was also seen in Canada as well as in the Philippines, paired with a unique branded paper cup, featuring the old 2005 logo. This release looked to have been purely focused on a fountain version, as well as prize giveaways involving the 7-Eleven app. Despite an official discontinuation, Solar Flare will live on as not only a tasty flavor, but an innovator for the franchise-exclusive fountain concept, for better or worse, depending on who you ask. Initially serving as a Jackson's exclusive, then a Sheetz exclusive is Goji Citrus Strawberry, a fountain-only flavor also from 2017. GCS is a strange one as it has claimed allegiance to several companies, seemingly at the same time, eventually turning into a widely available fountain mix option seen at stores big and small. The flavor not only speaks for itself, but is actually the first time any Mountain Dew product has officially advertised the obscure goji berry fruit. Due to its varied availability and overall long lifespan, Goji Citrus Strawberry's label has gone through many different looks, including several non-official customs created to keep up with demand, some of which are quite funny. Up to this point, it's becoming clear that franchise-exclusive flavors were the way of the future. Although the concept does alienate some fans, the idea of tracking down a tough-to-find fountain does make for a memorable experience, and from a business perspective, the connected brands probably love the increased traffic that comes as a result of having a flavor only accessible through them. Case in point, 2018's Berry Monsoon, a Sam's Club exclusive fountain-only flavor defined as a storm of berry lime. Based on that definition, 2015's Black Ops 3 Game Fuel obviously comes to mind, as it too is berry lime flavored and shares the distinct dark teal color. If you were to compare the two ingredients lists side by side, they are very similar, though not exact. Like Goji Citrus Strawberry, depending on the location, label variations could be seen, the most popular of which defines the flavor twice. Berry Monsoon proved popular enough to receive its own related sweepstakes and even have a zero sugar version of it released 3 years later, using the standard blackened colorway design. 2023 would be the final year Sam's Club offered their exclusive Berry Monsoon, leaving behind no physical release ever, not even a single cup. Shifting gears to the fountain side of things, 2019 was also the year KFC debuted Sweet Lightning, an exclusive flavor defined as a mix of sweet peach and smooth honey. The marketing around Sweet Lightning centered around a fictional cowboy named Sweet, whose sole focus was to secure a meeting with the Colonel in hopes of pitching him his southern-inspired beverage that he believed paired perfectly with KFC's signature fried chicken. After downing a swig, Sanders was quickly won over and agreed to make a deal with the condition that it remains exclusive to his restaurant chain. The written lore behind Sweet goes on to describe him as having a glass-half-full swagger and quick but smooth disposition, inspired by the Colonel's feisty personality and drive to sell his world-famous fried chicken. In concept, Sweet Lightning is obviously KFC's attempt at having their own Baja Blast, down to the whole designed to complement only their menu idea. If you're extra lucky, you might see both fountain taps next to one another, only made possible by KFC Taco Bell combo restaurants. The press surrounding the drink wanted to make it clear nothing tastes quite like Sweet Lightning, claiming it is unique as the fried chicken it was created to complement, and specifically as unique to KFC as the Colonel's secret blend of 11 herbs and spices. If in a rush, branded fountain cups were made as a to-go option, or maybe you're more into the bag method. Off the bat, KFC called Sweet Lightning their permanent pour, made evident by its long life and many redesigns. Starting in 2024, flavor variations were offered for Sweet Lightning in the form of added syrup pumps. In the order of release, there was blackberry, tropical passion fruit, cranberry, and peaches and cream varieties, the latter of which added vanilla cream instead of syrup. Also in 2024 was a Sweet Lightning Icy, only at select locations in Kentucky. Many think this was Mountain Dew's first time partnering with the Icy brand, except that's not true. That goes to this highly obscure Target twosome. Sweet Lightning almost also received a Canadian release and a zero sugar option, except that one is only proven through trademark filings, and the other via a juicy piece of concept art depicting a planned 2022 in-store can and bottle release of the Honey Peach Pop in full and zero sugar next to the drink that inspired its creation. This double summer drop was likely cancelled due to the ironclad deal struck between Colonel and Sweet. As you can see, the franchise exclusive concept was gaining significant traction during the late 2010s, enough to where Speedway threw its hat in the ring with Cyclone, an exclusive citrus punch flavor only available in fountain form. The use of the name Cyclone is interesting as it was one of the few test nicknames given to 2010's Typhoon before release, with it being storm themed and all. To many, Cyclone is all but a distant memory. Sure, it lasted a few years, but today it's only ever brought up when discussing 2015's Sangria Blast, another citrus punch flavor with an identical color that many think was just renamed for Speedway. Ingredients-wise, they're said to differ, but why did so many fountains use Sangria Blast labels? Was this a glitch due to an identical formula, or simply an employee accidentally uploading a similar-looking JPEG? In terms of collector's items, Cyclone did not receive the coveted cup, instead a thermos, one that for many would be the ultimate holy grail find. Around the same time, another juicy exclusive was hitting shelves, the shelves specifically within Dollar General locations. When originally released in October of 2019, Maui Burst was only available in 16-ounce cans fully covered in the tropical island imagery of Maui. On paper, Maui Burst's name concept isn't too different from its Californian cousin. The flavor this time around was purely pineapple, a fruit rarely seen connected with Mountain Dew. Maui Burst is also unique for being the first non-fountain, non-freeze exclusive, not counting that weird Walmart Typhoon 2-liter. When first seen at Dollar General, it was around for just 2 months, then brought back the following year for then a permanent position. Eventually, Maui would expand to more sizes and even get a whole new look in 2024, one that every Dew fan can agree is a major downgrade. A year later, Maui Burst would receive another redesign, courtesy of the 2025 rebrand. This release is notable for removing the pineapple's MLG shades and for only lasting a measly 2 months, thanks to a 2026 discontinuation. It was at the point in the Mountain Dew timeline when you could tell the company was all in on the franchise exclusive concept, to almost a laughable degree. Starting 2020, Mountain Dew began handing out new limited access flavors to just about any company that requested one. Starting with Walmart's Frostbite, an ambiguous blue dew confusingly containing no flavor definition whatsoever. We only know of its refreshing cool burst of melon flavor through a press release posted for the zero sugar variant of Frostbite released the following year, 2021. Originally, its beverage facts page mentioned a burst of icy refreshment and cool melon, but that was promptly removed, likely due to the fear of melon turning off fans. Walmart still called it melon citrus, at the same time Mountain Dew called it lemon on Twitter, so honestly, who really knows? Due to the era Frostbite released in, it featured a mascot as part of its design. This shark was revealed to be called a Megalofrost as part of the brand's collaboration with Discovery's Shark Week. The Megalofrost was also viewable through a Snapchat filter and a wearable mask, included in the Zero Sugar pre-release box. Both versions of Frostbite lasted up until 2025, where instead of being simply cancelled, were replaced. The next exclusive of the year came again from Sheetz. Like Goji Citrus Strawberry, Atomic Blue would eventually break exclusivity, with it being simultaneously seen at Come and Go, where it was instead labeled locally exclusive. This is possibly because both chains share little geographical overlap, allowing both to claim exclusive and get away with it. Despite its blue color, Atomic Blue is defined as electrifying lemonade, which is likely a reference to the cocktail known for its inclusion of blue curacao. Both releases of Atomic Blue were only ever fountain focused, with Sheetz specifically claiming it was only accessible through their fizz machines. At some point, a Canadian release of Atomic Blue looked to be planned, but never came to be. Its run in the US would eventually come to an end in 2024, thus serving as the first and only ever example of the rare double exclusive. It would be the southern fast food chain Bojangles who was next up to receive their own flavor, this time the tropical fruit punch Southern Shock. You may have never even seen a Bojangles restaurant as it only exists in certain regions, but you might be aware that they had their own exclusive dew in 2020. One that was said to pair exceptionally well with their perfectly seasoned fried chicken and made from scratch buttermilk biscuits. This was of course by design, and not at all a coincidence that they then spun into a marketing gimmick. The corporate talk connected with this release is especially egregious, calling the flavor Summer on Ice, truly the perfect refreshment for those hot southern days and nights, and a collision of Bojangles' real deal southern flavor and Mountain Dew's bold and playful spirit that can shock up the mundane. Memes aside, people seem to have really liked this one. Not enough to keep it around past 2023 though. Its fountain-only status of course led collectors to search for a cup that did appear in the marketing, but never outside of it. As we witnessed, Speedway had their moment with Cyclone, but the flavor they're most known for is without a doubt 2020 Spark, a raspberry lemonade exclusive released only in 20-ounce bottles. Initially. See, Spark has had a wild life. It started as a limited 3-month release in 2020, only at Speedway. That was then repeated for 2021. Then in 2022, Spark would prove so popular it was relaunched a third time nationwide for the first time alongside a zero sugar variation in all sorts of new sizes, including cans. Going back to 2020, Spark was released alongside the Rev Up Your Dew Den promotion, which involved some cool winnable merch, not nearly as cool as the grand prize offered in the 2022 tie-in promo, Year of the Dew. The Speedway-sponsored event revolved around visiting one of 16 drop points, which then allowed entry into a sweepstakes to win a PS5, amongst other goodies. The console was advertised as the big get, when in reality the real worth was in that bottle. A golden dew was said to be hidden at each drop point, requiring you to find one and take a picture with it to enter. In theory, 16 were produced, yet not one has been seen outside of the event in the hands of a collector. This is likely because it was held hostage by Pepsi employees and only allowed to be used for photos. When giving it a second look, it's obviously just spray painted, but the label looks to be legit. Anyway, it's a neat piece of history no one ever discusses that loosely relates to the Speedway exclusive. Spark's popularity only increased as the years went on. Big budget commercials were run, one of which featured the drink's race car mascot front and center. It was even spotted in Canada in both liquid and frozen form, and in Poland with an alternate look and slightly varied flavor text of raspberry and lemonade. A similar looking Spark was seen alongside Pitch Black in Hungary with unique added text denoting its caffeine inclusion. In 2025 in the US, production of Spark would sadly cease, marking the end to an impressive run, one that got its start as a humble bottle-only Speedway exclusive. Despite just missing the US's 2025 redesign, the Raspberry Lemonade liquid would receive an updated look via its Canadian counterpart. Back on the fountain exclusive side of things, 2021 also saw the release of Mountain Dew Vibe, a straight-up lemonade flavor belonging only to Which Superior sandwiches. Like many that came before it, Vibe was said to be specially designed to complement any Which menu selection. They even went as far to say both brands collaborated for more than a year to create the perfect look and flavor to pair perfectly with any Which. The creation and naming of Vibe was said to be in response to COVID, believe it or not, as Vibe was said to provoke nostalgia, comfort, and happiness in the wake of the pandemic. In their words, Vibe delivers a fresh take on the when life gives you lemons saying. Years before the pandemic, Which can be seen incorporating vibes into their branding, making the whole proposed backstory feel like mostly corporate hoopla. In defense of Vibe, it does showcase one of the more striking designs from the time, one jam-packed with mascots. Despite its fountain-only status, Vibe was once seen in a bottle, only ever in a 2022 Which social media post. This seemingly innocuous video was uploaded to both Instagram and Twitter, only for a short time though, as both were quickly deleted following the increased attention that comes from sharing a never-before-seen Mountain Dew product. This either could be because the release was cancelled, Pepsi was upset with the leak, or maybe Which just custom made a bottle and never thought fans would think much of it. The truth behind the now lost post and the whereabouts of the Vibe bottle both remain unknown, making for one juicy Mountain Dew mystery. The next new Dew would come in the form of an Applebee's exclusive, that being Dark Berry Bash. Despite the similar name, this has zero relation to 2012's Batman beverage, at least not that we know of. Instead, Dark Berry Bash was themed around space, complete with an astronaut mascot similar to Vibe's, who here is said to be surfing on galactic waves. This fountain-only entry is not the same as the prior fake exclusive Applebee's wannabes. This instead has a unique formula, defined on the tap as purely berry, though further described on the advertising as a collision of blue raspberry and blackberry flavors. Throughout its time at the restaurant, Dark Berry Bash has been seen mixed with alcohol, cream, and eventually passion fruit syrup, similar to the variants available for Sweet Lightning. That KFC exclusive also likely served as the inspiration behind Dark Berry's trendy take-home method, the 1-gallon soda sack, that was then topped by the chain's unique choice to contain their drinks in sealed clear plastic to-go cans. An actual apple flavor was made available that same year, 2021, except only at Kroger, under the name Thrashed Apple. To be specific, this crisp apple entry was available at all stores within the Kroger family. Serving as the drink's mascot this time around was a band of thrash metal musicians fronted by a large sentient tree, one that, if you were lucky, you could meet in real life. To tie in with that musical premise, Thrashed Apple was often seen alongside the slogan, "Rock your taste buds." Given its green apple alignment, Thrashed Apple is a rare example of a flavor aimed at being sour. When looking closely at the packaging, Easter eggs relating to Kroger can be seen, including one referencing the year the company was founded. Around late 2022, Thrashed Apple products started receiving massive price reductions, leading many to assume its days were numbered. Kroger then took to Twitter to say, yes, the green apple exclusive will in fact be faded from our inventory, only to then be pressed on it, resulting in the same answer, then pressed on it once more, to which after Kroger said fine, it's no longer being discontinued and instead going to remain permanently. This ended up meaning until early 2024, but still it shows how with some persistence and a buy-up of remaining stock, the life of a flavor can be extended. Another grocery store lucky enough to receive the exclusive Dew treatment was Food Lion, the regional chain located in a few mid-Atlantic states. Fitting with the brand's logo, the drink was named Uproar and given a lion mascot, paired with a flavor the company called a delicious mouth-watering berry-kiwi combination unlike any beverage ever tasted. This high bar was set because, according to Food Lion, their fans needed a unique flavor that reflects their discerning tastes. Uproar is notable for being the first ever example of an exclusive being purely bottle only, as no cans or fountain formulas were ever produced. To further tie in with the Big Cat concept, Food Lion told fans to forget hunting for a new drink because this new one will make your taste buds roar. Initially, Uproar was planned as a limited time offering, but after another discussion on Twitter, that was proven to not be true. You might be wondering what permanent even means when, regardless of the terminology, every dew eventually meets its maker. Keeping up with the trend of famous chain meets exclusive dew, 2022 was the year Legend hit the scene, a blackberry citrus flavor exclusive to Buffalo Wild Wings. Known for its shockingly dark color and golden goat mascot, Mountain Dew Legend was said to be inspired by the current blackberry flavor craze, with added notes of ginger. As to be expected, the restaurant behind the exclusive pour claimed that not only does Legend pair well with the food, it was actually uniquely designed to elevate their specific sauces, burgers, and other bar menu items, making for the ultimate wingman. Believe it or not, Mountain Dew Legend was not the first time the brand collabed with the well-known sports bar. That title belongs to 2015's limited time Zesty Citrus Sauce. To tie in with the 2016 Buffalo Wild Wings Citrus Bowl, the scientists over at the Sauce Lab decided to use Mountain Dew as an ingredient in hopes of replicating its bold citrus flavor, but for those who tried it, most were underwhelmed and upset they didn't toss in any green food dye. As for Legend, it, like Dark Berry Bash, had an alcoholic variant of it produced under the name Legendary Long Island, as it was simply a remix of their traditional cola cocktail. Prior to its 2025 discontinuation, free cups of Mountain Dew Legend were planned to be given out only if the NBA Finals reached Game 7, the game in which spokesman Tony Parker claimed, "Legends are made." 2022's next exclusive, which also happens to have ties to the NBA, has maybe the best name ever given to a flavor. That being Sasquench, the planned Little Caesars 16-ounce exclusive that we only know of via a single portfolio page. Before being locked behind a password, Sasquench looked to have been pitched as part of a Little Caesars NBA Pepsi collab, involving a partnership with player Zach LaVine, an AR scavenger hunt, and an online delivery game. Only 4 total photos are shown, along with the mention of the author playing the role of creative director. To tie in with the obvious tongue-in-cheek name, a large Sasquatch was slated to be the mascot for the flavor, defined as Raspberry Citrus Punch. Visual proof of Little Caesars' involvement can be seen via small LC logos used around the can's opening. In one image showing a billboard render, a new sauce is mentioned, complete with a Mountain Dew logo and this time a green color. When discussing Sasquatch online, it often leads to a DMCA takedown, further adding legitimacy to the leak. Like Dunicorn, no further visual or informational proof has ever been found, leading to the likely conclusion Sasquench never made it past the concept phase. The popular theory is either Pepsi Pineapple took its place in 2023, given its similar design, or maybe the chain just said no to raspberry and instead yes to a future formulation. On the shelves of Circle K gas stations is where our next exclusive flavor got its start. The Berry Plum Purple Thunder was made drinkable only through 20-ounce bottles and a Polar Pop pour. Serving as the drink's mascot were these 2 motorcyclists, who this time around we actually have names for, Berry Biker and Plum Lucky. Like Thrashed Apple, a deeper look at the artwork reveals Easter eggs like this license plate and road sign, both of which reference Circle K. For the drink's 1-year anniversary, Circle K began what they called the Thunderversary Tour of 33 cities, where not only a Frost or Freeze was made available, but also several pop-up stands were set up with all sorts of fun decorations and neat prizes, with the coolest by far being this plush of Plum Lucky. Purple Thunder must have been a hit because Circle K had to start sharing its exclusivity with Kroger-owned stores starting the following year, 2024. The deal was the gas stations kept the bottles and the grocery stores would just get canned 12-packs. This new change also coincided with the release of Purple Thunder Zero Sugar at both locations, each in their respective forms. For obvious reasons, these new cans scrapped any mention of the previous partner due to them now being produced for both brands. Purple Thunder even saw success in Canada, first in 2022 alongside those King Can Whiteouts, with a flavor clarification of Blackberry Plum, next in 2023 in Bottle Fountain and Froster forms, and then once again in 2024 in cans for a second time. As for Purple Thunder in the US, its look would eventually be upgraded, but its availability downgraded as the flavor was relegated to a Circle K fountain-only existence. Also released in connection to summer was the Casey's exclusive Overdrive, a new flavor defined as simply citrus punch. No cans were involved this time around, with Overdrive being available only through fountains and 20-ounce bottles. For the most hardcore of Dew enthusiasts, this release came as a mega shock, as the name Overdrive has been seen connected with Mountain Dew dating back to 2002. In a promotional blurb discussing Overdrive, the flavor is further defined as having hints of mango, raspberry, and lime, leading many to think this is the final form of Sasquench. This theory is helped by a somewhat similar mascot, who we again have a name for. He goes by Benny and is said to be a mix between a bear and an antelope, in their words an outdoor-loving bearlope. Benny has even been spotted in real life in the form of an in-store mascot used for photo ops. Overdrive took full advantage of all the little critters seen on the label's artwork, positioning them in countless pieces of social media marketing. Continuing with the Easter egg trend, here a barn buoy with the brand's founding year is spotted, alongside a rooster pendant seen hanging around the neck of the water skiing bearlope. Overdrive did last until the 2025 charm removal redesign, resulting in a complete mascot massacre that some say is the reason behind its then swift discontinuation. Luckily in 2026, Casey's did return not with Overdrive, but instead Blackberry Citrus. Another gas station exclusive dating back to around mid-2023 is the seemingly cancelled Peach Madness, a supposed Wawa exclusive only ever seen in this one extremely low resolution photo. So little info is known about Peach Madness, it may not even be 100% legit. The only solid evidence we have of it planning to release at one point is a trademark filing made in July of 2023, which has since been abandoned, marking now a third peach flavor killed by the company. Leaks from this time period were always considered shaky, as they almost always lacked visual evidence. That was except for the, again potentially fake, Mountain Dew glitter seen on video with a swirling edible glitter texture described as tasting like cotton candy. On the surface, 2024's Infinite Swirl looked to have been the first triple exclusive to 7-Eleven, Speedway, and Stripes. Though upon further investigation, these are all owned by the same people as of the year 2024 when 7-Eleven finished absorbing both. The pineapple berry flavor was only available within 20-ounce bottles, labeled with what looked to be a Pineapple Rocket mascot. Prior to the release, Infinite Swirl can be seen described on a corporate slideshow as the first Mountain Dew exclusive in 10 years. The two exclusives seen at Speedway released in 2019 and 2020, so this has to be in reference to 7-Eleven's Solar Flare that got its start perfectly 10 years prior in 2014. Despite often being labeled as limited edition, that was not true. Infinite Swirl remained on shelves for around 8 months. Then phased out, and then brought back a few months later with a redesign to match the 2025 rebrand. This release was paired with a fountain and Slurpee version, the latter of which saw release in Canada as well. It would be Little Caesars who received the first exclusive of 2025, not under the Sasquench name, instead Mango Rush. This limited time only flavor, described as Mango Sweet Heat, looks to have been possibly inspired by the 2022 Bigfoot beverage, but not the final version of it, as the fruits aren't even close. Others claim this is simply a reskin of Mango Heat Game Fuel, but this was said to be another perfect pairing situation, so it has to be unique. On the can's artwork, a sign denoting its exclusivity is shown alongside Caesar himself, who is seen riding in a mango. Despite its 16-ounce size, Mango Rush was packaged in 12 packs, though getting your hands on one required a little employee convincing, as they were designed to be sold individually. Mango Rush is notable for being the last US flavor to use the MTN spelling, with all flavors after it instead using the 2025 revamped Full Mountain text. Mango Rush as well would eventually adopt this style when brought back once again in 2026. Serving as Frostbite's official replacement was Mountain Dew Dragon Fruit, a self-explanatory flavor again exclusive to Walmart. At the same time over in Canada, Dragon Fruit was offered only at Circle K, only as a Froster, except that version reverted back to the old logo due to the country's slow adoption of the modern mountain look. Maybe the most hype release to come from 2025 was the Taco Bell exclusive Baja Midnight, a flavor pitched as Taco Bell's first ever permanent flavor expansion. Even though many drinks have used the Baja branding, this particular passion fruit variant was celebrated due to it coming specifically from the chain that started it all. Made clear by the wording used in the press release, they don't consider Sangria Blast a spinoff. Prior to its fountain-only existence, Baja Midnight was previewed in cans, labeled not for retail sale. Later, when hand-delivered to influencers in pre-release cases, the drink was seen this time in bottles, labeled with the same text. According to the instructions, the bottle was designed to be consumed within an amethyst aura-cleansed glass with an eye mask on to isolate the senses, and with a themed candle lit, in order to heighten its flavor notes. As to be expected, the officially released fountain was expertly formulated to pair perfectly with blah blah blah, and also this time intentionally crafted to satisfy the thirst of a new generation, whatever the hell that means. The launch came paired with a limited time freeze that eventually would be made dirty like its predecessor. Baja Midnight would go on to follow many of the same trends, even receiving its own pie.